please remember to leave a like, a comment, share the video about, and if you haven't already, subscribe. Thank you. Well, isn't this just fantastic? Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be responding to Darksydephils. Recently he has had a bit of a renaissance in some semblance of popularity because of a recent appearance on the Kino Casino. This in turn led to an increase in his fortunes. Congratulations to Darksydephils. Now I had assumed one of the reasons he went on that particular show was because it wasn't Lolcal Live. And the reason it wasn't Lolcal Live is because he knows he'd get bullied for quite a lengthy period of time by Keemstar, and then mocked to high hell by Boogie and Wings. More notably Wings, I think, because he's a better gamer. So to stick it to Lolcal Live and the fact that he'd never get the money that, they were originally going to offer to him, he went to Kino Casino. For the sake of this video, I am not going to be taking shots at Kino Casino, as I have no real vested interest in that show. I know though that they get mocked by a lot of people because of Andy Warski's poor decisions and PPP's, well, being himself really. But Phil appeared, Phil got some support. And if you know Phil is, well, he's the type to ask for money even if he's already been given money. He also believes that while it's great to receive money through other means, the donations are what really matter to him. If he doesn't receive a certain amount, his show is a failure, which is an interesting interpretation, I'll give you that. A couple clips that were shared to Twitter of one of his shows talking about e-begging came to light, and they're the ones I want to focus on. If we have time afterwards, we might well look at his thoughts on Mr. Metica.
You guys know the deal with my streams?
Yes, generally speaking they suck, you're terrible at video games, you e-beg every 2 minutes like an ad on YouTube. It's a very repetitive routine.
Very simple. 50 bucks in tips is my goal. If I hit that, I consider this a successful stream and I did good.
Now as a full-time streamer on your part, that's actually quite a low goal for what I would expect. I know other streamers who have a minimum goal of 100. Because this is your job, I have to respect and understand that you will have to have a goal to make sure that you can keep things afloat. The issue you have is you've been on social media for over 10 years. You've made a lot of money. We know where a lot of that money went. Into microtransactions for mobile video games, for example. We know about this. We know that there are multiple properties involved. I believe, don't you sublet some? So you have income. You're still considered a failure though because you do still literally beg every stream for more donations. You received a fair amount after your appearance on the Kino Casino, which was interesting, but I still put you up there with the likes of Chris Chan when it comes to asking for donations.
If I don't, I consider it I didn't do so good. Okay, that's what I'm looking for. Anything else that comes in, super chats, super stickers, memberships, gifted memberships, all well appreciated. Thank you so much in advance to anyone who supports the stream in those ways. But tonight, I am looking for 50 bucks in tips.
Now to me that's already an interesting separation, because getting the other forms of monetary rewards from your audience should surely count towards your goal. I can understand memberships if this was on YouTube being separate from donations because there are different membership levels. Totally understand that. But to have an additional goal for donations is strange. You should include the super chats. If there was a way of removing the YouTube fee of 30 to 40%, wherever it is, sure, that would be advantageous to you. But I guess because you can't access that money straight away, that is why you draw that line. I'm not at the level you've been at, but I've never thought of it as a failure when I stream if I don't receive a donation. I really don't. I think that it is a reward for being good, sure, but it's not an indicator I've done well, and it is not an indicator that I have failed if I do not get one. Perhaps I don't have your mindset.
I did not even hit 20 bucks in tips on my first stream today, Nintendo World Championships, so it would be great to hit that tonight.
Question. If you don't hit your donation goal of 50 bucks per stream, does the remainder of the previous goal carry over? And does this take into account the thousands of dollars you got in donations shortly after your appearance on the Kino Casino? It's going to be something you address later anyway, but I thought I'd set it up. Additionally, memberships and other forms of donations that isn't strictly them giving you money you can access immediately isn't necessarily a bad thing, because it means you're going to get a decent paycheck when the next pay cycle comes around, and you should be grateful for that. because you have made a lot of money in this game. As a terrible gamer, you've done well. Yet for some reason, you can't help but act as if it's never enough. You're a millennial, aren't you? I bet you are. Oh, this is embarrassing.
They'll make up for that. Thank you in advance. What's hilarious now is that, so I literally am just doing exactly what I do every day, right? So now my haters on Twitter are coming after me saying, oh, you see, today he was asking for money on stream.
I don't think it's that you ask for money when you stream, nor that you link your relevant socials for people to be able to, donate to you. It's not that. It is the frequency in which you do it. And I mean every 2 minutes, 3 minutes on your relevant streams. It's the fact you do it so much for so little return, minus the, influx after your appearance on Kino Casino. Again, you do this so much, that is where the accusation comes from. And it's because you've asked for so much in the past as well, received so much in the past, and then people found out what you were actually spending it on. The comparison of you and Chris Chan exists because Chris Chan would ask for money for a phone bill, or to buy food only to then go buy Lego. How are you any different when you'd ask for money to pay for your bills, when you then went and spent it on microtransactions for a WWE mobile game?
And people are actually defending me now for the first time ever. They're like, yeah, it's called working. That's what he does. He works every day, and he lets people know they can contribute if they like the content, right?
The thing with your content that baffles me is that it is a degree of separation from those TikTok streamers who just sit there staring at their camera, telling their audience to please like, please share it about. That's basically you, but with the added perk of please throw me your money, here be my Streamlabs. And I could rant all day about the inadequacy of Twitch streamers, TikTokers, who do these live stream formats where they just sit and tell people to remember to share the stream about, and then offer nothing in the form of what can be regarded content. I've watched many of your streams in the past. Much of the criticism you receive is justified.
And people, oh, well, he just made a lot of money back on Sunday during his React event. Aren't you aware of that? And people are like, yeah, and he's working now, so because he made money 2 days ago when he was working, he can't make money today when he's working?
Now, there is a point to that. I can understand that. I think perhaps it would be more advantageous for Phil, to consider scaling back the amount of times he asks for donations or tips, because then there is less chance of those who threw money at you more recently, less chance of them simply walking away, more chance of them sticking around for longer. I guess because of how Phil has operated for the many years he's been on social media, he's only ever really interested in the short-term gratification and not playing a long game.
What the hell are you talking about? I couldn't believe it. People were actually defending me. I was like, what? People are defending me?
In January last year, a YouTuber, a mukbanger called Amberlyn found herself on the receiving end of what she had never had on this platform, positivity, because a Belgian YouTuber had defended her. So that Belgian YouTuber's army of followers, a contingent as I called them, went and showered her with praise and happiness, and then they realized after about a month she was a fraud. People right now are defending you. Of course they are, because right now you're riding a bit of a wave. It's a small one, but it's one that you can take advantage of if you know how to play the game, which you don't. So I fully expect this to diminish at an expedited rate. If you don't know how to play the game properly, and you're a terrible gamer, it is inevitable that you will lose that support at a rate akin to that of Amberlyn Reid and the Belgian contingent.
That hasn't happened in a decade. Seriously, no one has had my back in a decade.
Now this is a load of bollocks. We know this because the vast amounts of money you've received over the decade you've been online. You cannot say people have not had your back when they have been paying your bills for a decade. You cannot say this when they've been paying for your video game transactions, for the food in your belly, the rubbish clothes on your back. I would say microphone as well, but you have some weird radio setting on yours. And then before someone says it, yes, I'm very much aware my mic is still dog shit as well, thank you. I appreciate the feedback.
And now people are actually being nice to me and standing up for me. Wow. So you mean I can do the same thing everyone else does now and I won't be crucified for it by a bunch of obsessive nutjobs? Well, no, I will still be, but the thing is no one cares about them anymore, right? No one gives a shit about what they have to say, and that's a good thing.
People do care what they have to say, the nut jobs that is. Because again, a lot of this comes down to the entitlement that you have presented over the many years you've been online, and the fact that you have never relented, which is impressive. It shows a level of conviction. You'd never make it as a Marvel villain, of course, but at the same time, you've done it so much, so often, for so long, it is unlikely to change the perspective just because, for a little while, you're riding a bit of positivity. I'm sure you'll screw up in the near future, and this will come to bite you on the backside. Now, the tweet we are screen recording is a 3-parter. There's a second and third video, so the second one is what we're going to look at now.
Tate S says, if you were to work overtime one week, does that mean you just work time and a half the next week? No. Right. Because I had a good day on Sunday, a really good day with that React event. I'm just supposed to not care about working for the whole week and just be like, yeah, it's fine. I don't need any income. I've made this analogy before. If you own a business, right? And let's say, for some reason, you have a record-breaking day of sales, right? Does that mean you just shut the store down for the rest of the week? Oh, I'm good? No. What are you talking about?
While a fair analogy to make, it is a false equivalence to compare yourself, the streamer, with that of a shop. Shops are contractually obligated to be open at certain business hours. You are not. You are a streamer. It was suggested to you perhaps you scale back when you have one of those good days because less is more, a concept you are not fully, let's say, accustomed to or willing to participate in. As a creator on YouTube, I know for a fact October, November, December are the best months. So I will always be active as much as I can be on YouTube during those months, December especially. I also know January is the worst. Therefore, while making regular content, am nowhere near as active as I am during the month of December, because I know the nature of that game. You as a streamer know that this does also impact you because of things like tax seasons and holidays. But during those months, and I've seen it, you beg even harder and your viewership goes down, which is something you should surely be aware of. So when you do have those really good months or days where you get thousands of dollars in donations, it is merely a suggestion for you, not so you can e-beg less, but so you can take time off. It's all many people want, to have a little bit of a breathing room to wiggle about, as it were.
Asking for money is the problem. I'm literally saying, here's my goal. Please support the stream if you enjoy it. Am I saying, right now, drop everything you're doing and against your own will, start giving me your money. Open your wallets and unload them into the stream. Did I say that?
No one's saying that you say that either. They're saying that you asking for money on a more regular basis, a frequent basis, I earlier referenced 2 to 3 minutes, like a YouTube ad, because you are like clockwork on it. That is what many people take issue with. Because that is what you do as a full-time streamer, it can be argued your content is less about the gaming or the conversation, it is more about you seeing what you can get from those who watch you, as if them watching you is a privilege that they should also pay for. You're a millennial. We know you're entitled, but your level of entitlement you try and discard or disregard or downplay as, but I didn't explicitly say unload your wallets, so what is the problem?
So unless I said that, if that's the case, then you should be offended. Alright? I'm doing exactly the same thing everybody else does. Alright? So if you have a problem with that, turn your internet off right now, because anyone who makes content is asking for contributions from you. I hate to tell you.
Public disclaimer. While there is a surge in popularity, certainly on, as I earlier mentioned, TikTok, for people to do things like this, there are many streamers who do not do this, and it's not for the reason he's about to give. Many don't do it because they don't want to scare their audience away. They want you to stick around. Some are not motivated by monetary gain and just want to put on a decent show. Of course, it is unrealistic to think that that is a majority. I'm not so naive as to think that. When I stream, I do not do this, unless it is done as the memed, if you have time to watch, you have time to donate. If you know where that's from, you'll get the joke. Generally streaming though, that's not what I do. But I know that this is not a popular trend with those who full-time stream. Again, people know what Phil has made over the years, and that is why people draw such issue with this, because 10 years later, he is still dirt poor, apparently, because he cannot keep hold of any of his money, because the moment he gets it, it's a race to the bottom, so he can then continue to ask for more. And I'll be honest, I'm impressed he's still here, but I don't know how much longer he can do this for, before he starts to lose that audience. He's in his early 40s. I can't imagine he'll be doing this when he's in his 60s with any level of success, although what you can and cannot consider success is subjective, but we'll base it on Phil's level for the time being. Someone who is more successful than I am, so I try and be a bit careful with how I phrase things.
Unless they're already filthy rich, then they don't, because they don't have to, because they're filthy rich. Normal people actually have to work and earn. You know what I'm saying?
The thing here, Phil, and it is another bone of contention your detractors have, is that had you not been so reckless, and still reckless with the money you made, you would actually be rich. You've spent and blown so much on what you wanted, rather than putting it aside for that day when this all ends. Considering your future, instead of just blowing it. I mentioned race to the bottom in an earlier comment. That's what you do every time. Your $50 pays for what? Deliveroo? Uber? Eats? I don't know. Whatever it is you do when you're not on the game. I would say playing a game, but you're really bad. You should consider getting an Atari, and I have a sneaky feeling you'd still suck at Pong. Now, we have reached the end of these 3 clips. I would love to know what you think. Please let me know in the comments. I do feel that yes, half the time, Phil does get some, so it's even less than half now, unjustified criticism when it comes to his requests for donations because of what he has done over 10 years as a streamer, a professional no less. I believe most of it to be justified, the criticisms about that especially, and him being a terrible gamer. Do let me know in the comments. As a final thing, I'm going to be streaming on Twitch later today, some fishing. If you're interested in a casual conversation, click the link down below and join us. And thankfully, it is free to follow. Ta-ta everyone.